Another thing that we are going to discuss is the ways by which the budget can be set. You can call it types of budgeting too, but the topic name is setting and using the budget. The first way by which we can set the budget is called incremental budget. This is the most common way, incremental budget, but a relatively tricky one too. What we do in the incremental budget, we uh, we take the last year budget and make changes in that uh, for the year based on the last year budget. For example, this may also be called the revised budget. We consider that what were the budget of last year, what was the revenue of the last year, what was the expenses of the last year, and we just increase those expenses according to the current level of inflation, current level of economic scenarios. What we do, cost budgets will be adjusted for forecasted inflation. We see that the cost is going to be increased by 10% this year, so we can increase our cost to 10%. If the last year the cost was 2 million, this year the cost will be, with the 10% increase, 2.2 million. Similarly, we can also see the expected changes in output, and we can also see what the sales revenue is going to be changed according to this expectation level. Okay. But the problem is with the incremental budget is that incremental budget does not allow the unforeseen events. Does not allow unforeseen events. Using the last year figures will also mean that each department will not have to justify its whole budget for the coming year. They just say that this was the last year budget, this is the estimated expenses level this year, and these are amounts to be increased for the next year. So this will be our next year budget. So the changes are only increments. So what we do, we may call it, okay, this is the financial budget of the last year. Everything has been increased by 10%, 15%, or expenses are expected to be increased by 10, 15%. So this is our next year budget. Another technique that we use is called zero budgeting. This is the preparation and making of budget from the zero level every year. The zero budgeting technique requires all departments and budget holders to justify their whole budgets. All departments and budget holders justify their budget every year. When we say justify their budget every year, it means that they will make a whole budget from the scrap, from the zero every year. That's why it's called zero budgeting. This is very time consuming technique. They will do market research, they will identify expected sales, everything. They will see how the prices are going to be changed this year. So on the basis of that, this will become very time consuming. Okay, because you will have to review the performance, the work, the objectives of business and all that every year. Okay, but it provides incentive for managers to defend whatever they have done, because they know they have done their own market research for the purpose of making the budget, so they know how to handle that. It provides managers to defend it provides incentive for the managers to defend their budget. Also, in the changing situations such as external environment, we can reflect that changes into the budget every year, because otherwise it was not possible. But now if you expect that changes are going to happen, we can reflect that changes in the budget every year. Okay, another technique is flexible budgeting. Most budgets are flexible for the time period under the review. This means that they are based on the assumptions that the level of output remains at the predicted or budgeted level, but the things attached with that output level can change. For example, the selling price, for example, the variable cost or the other stuff. Even if the actual output rises or falls, what will happen that the budgets can be adjusted accordingly. So this is what we call flexible budget. Budgets can be flexible according to the changes in market. Uh, for example, output level can be adjusted. If we expect that it's going to be increased or it's going to fall, for example, COVID is there, all the level of outputs that are expected to be sold in the market won't be sold. Similarly, the price level for those output, similarly the cost level for those outputs and all that. So this is how flexible budgets are calculated. What we can do with that flexible budget, if actual output falls or rises above the level, this could lead to obvious variations in the fixed budget. So however, these variants do not necessarily indicate real efficiency problems, because they might happen because of so many reasons in the market. So these were few things. One more thing, sorry. Flexible budgets are more motivating for the budget holding managers, because they can adjust during the year too. And because they will not be criticized for adverse variance, because there might be so many market things that are happening, and because of that there is some variance. For example, they expected sales of 10 million, but suddenly there is a factor that have reduced the expected sales or output level. A disease has been there, a viral disease has been there, or a sudden fall in the economic indicators like GDP, etc. So they would not be blamed for that. Similarly, the flexible budget make it easier to produce valid and accurate variance. Valid and accurate variance according to the changes in the output level and other changes into the market. So these are few ways to make the budget.